Welcome back to Fast Instant Karma. And today we've got a topic about those truly human, heart-touching moments from police officers while they're on duty. Don't forget to like the video and share which story moved you the most down in the comments.
Our primary goal... How you doing, sir?
How are you?
Good.
Remember me?
No, I don't, sir.
About 1997.
Oh my God, are you serious?
5-year-old out of a swimming pool. Saved his life.
19 years may change how someone looks, but it can't fade the gratitude of a boy once saved from drowning by this officer.
Because of you, I'm still here. Because of you, this 5-year-old little girl right here still is here.
Their reunion today truly touches a lot of hearts.
You know what? I'm just doing my job, man.
The police staged an arrest just to help a man hold on to the love of his life. Seeing her face shift from scared to emotional says it all. This special operation turned out even better than expected. Thank you, officer. I don't know your name, but I feel better knowing that people like you are out there. Arrested after a fight, he never expected the one walking up to him to be his own uncle in uniform. The harsh words at the start slowly faded away, making room for a worried and loving hug from family. Losing a father in the line of duty is never easy. That's why 70 officers from 3 districts showed up, so the boy wouldn't have to walk into his first day of school alone. Everything happens in seconds as a young man starts choking. Luckily, a nearby officer steps in just in time, showing they're always ready even off duty. The sirens today aren't sounding for an emergency, but to mark a surprise birthday visit for a brave officer fighting cancer.
Teşekkür ediyorum. Çok sağ olun.
Sometimes, the greatest kind of healing comes from knowing you're still an important part of the team. While on duty, keeping the ceremony safe, this officer ended up becoming part of a very special moment.
Relatives and people will do much too. But there's someone here that has, they'd like for you to introduce them.
Just a small surprise, but enough to make that wedding day an unforgettable memory.
All right. That's a good girl.
Today we come together to celebrate and honor a very special member of the Houston Police Department, a loyal partner, a tireless worker, and a true hero in the fight against narcotics.
A heartfelt farewell for a service dog after a long journey of dedication.
Is unlike any other. Together they have faced challenges that many of us could never imagine. And while Frida may be retiring from active duty, the legacy of bravery, service, and dedication will remain forever.
Everyone will miss her, but now it's time for her to finally rest.
Kiss, 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 kiss.
Nothing's happening in here.
This is a special performance organized by the police department to honor a woman after 40 years working in communications.
On behalf of the men and women of the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. We would like to congratulate you on your retirement after a combined 40 years of service between the Green Acres Police Department and the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. We wish you all the best in retirement. You will always be a part of the PBSO family. Congratulations, Nancy. We wish you the best.
Got you something because I love you. You always ask me where my car at, your own police car now.
Lock 'em up!
That's what I'll
Lock 'em up now! Lock 'em up!
This police toy will definitely be a childhood memory the boy will never forget.
just on a smaller scale, so now you have your own police car, okay?
Thank you!
A mother needed to use the restroom and asked the police officer at the airport to watch her child. And what he did just melted my heart. Just a normal lunch, until he recognizes familiar taste from his mom. And then the emotion hits when he realizes his parents came all the way to cook it for him.
Got my McDonald's. I just told y'all.
A simple traffic stop turns into an unexpected family reunion right on the roadside.
I just ain't feel like putting in the contacts. Exactly. He just ain't put the contacts in. Mama gonna be mad at you for pulling me over, bruh.
Their job isn't just to keep order past the finish line, but to make sure no one falls before reaching their dream. During a tense traffic stop in Montana, Officer Grant Morrison faces a suspect who keeps ignoring commands and making suspicious movements.
374 medical can come in now.
Hey, are you hurt?
Okay, sit up.
I got you.
In that high-pressure moment, he's forced to react, only to realize the suspect was unarmed. The officer breaks down, showing the heavy emotional weight of a split-second decision that leads to unintended consequences. A human chain was formed in a split second to save a baby swept away by the raging water. When kindness joins forces, even death has to take a step back. Seeing a monkey showing signs of exhaustion under the hot sun, the officer doesn't hesitate to help. That moment is proof that compassion has no boundaries, whether it's for people or even the smallest creatures. Sometimes all it takes is one person to start dancing, and suddenly everything feels a lot more fun.
I'm gonna watch what studies.
This officer looks like he's ready to be the team's official mascot. Cheer or go to jail. And of course,
Come here. What? Come here.
Losing his home after a storm, going through a painful surgery, and having to spend his birthday alone, it's almost too much for a child to handle. But the officers show up with a helicopter and fire trucks to turn his birthday into something he'll never forget. When legal trouble meant a delivery driver couldn't finish his shift, these officers stepped up as special delivery drivers to make sure the order made it to the customer's door safe and sound.
How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Yes.
So your grub guy got arrested, so still delivering your pizza.
Well, I really appreciate the pizza.
It still should be.
Very much. Appreciate it. Happy 4th.
Thank you.
A cup of hot tea in the middle of a protest might not change everything, but it's enough to show that kindness is still there. An absolute fire drum solo coming from the officer himself. The neighbor who called in a noise complaint was just left standing there because this definitely wasn't the ending they expected.
In a wheelchair, and he is.
For Officer Johnson, it's just another normal day serving the community.
I'm putting you on Facebook, man. This is what we want.
But for millions watching through the screen, it's proof that kindness never goes out of style.
Yeah, this. I want people to see the positive of Scott County.
There you go.
Thank you.
He's here to protect everyone. But maybe he also carries his own stories that no one can help with.
Right. You guys promise not to get mad at me, huh?
You guys ready? Come over here.
Oh man, I feel like Ronnie King.
3, 2.
If someone ever asks why you respect the police, just show them this video. Facing a suspect claiming to have a weapon in a crowded apartment complex, Atlanta officers are forced to make a decision under extreme pressure.
Sir, come on, man. You gotta get out the vehicle, man. I'm telling you what's going on, sir. Sir, it's cool. Get out the car. You gonna tase me? Get out the car. You gonna tase me? Bro, get out the car. The car's ready for you, okay? Come here. All right.
He gonna run. Come on, put it down. Put it down. Put it down. Let me see your hands. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Put your hands out.
After stepping in to stop the risk, the female officer can't hold back her emotions, reflecting the mental strain she carries.
Police.
After an emergency call from a 22-day-old baby having trouble breathing, NYPD officers rushed to the scene and found a panicked mother. One officer immediately took the baby and performed first aid until the sound of crying filled the room.
okay. You want to double check it?
A moment that shows skill and heart can come together to create something miraculous. The look of pride in her eyes says it all as her grandson officially joins the Special Forces. It's hard not to get emotional watching this.
She's the one!
If the bag is filled up, that's it. It's over. It's filled up. All right? Y'all got 10 seconds to pick whatever y'all want.
This is probably every kid's dream to walk into a store and pick anything they want without worrying about money.
6, 3, 1. That's it. Everybody freeze. Everybody freeze.
They're more than just colleagues, they're family, especially in this moment, gathered around an officer closing out a 30-year career. Facing every parent's worst nightmare, Officer Robert Baer becomes the only hope for a 1-year-old who stopped breathing by the roadside. He quickly performs the right life-saving steps, then breaks down as the baby is safely in the hands of medics. Left without food or water, a mother dog and her puppies are barely holding on to life. But today is their lucky day, as officers find and rescue them in time. Not because of duty, but out of empathy, the officer chooses to listen to someone's feelings in the middle of a chaotic protest.
We're all here together, okay?
Don't say that, okay?
In the tense atmosphere of a protest crowd, a little girl's fear is met with the kindness of a police officer.
Protest, you can march, you can do whatever you want. Just don't break nothing.
Can you show me clear and for the last time log me out of service, off duty, and in the career?
28 years of service comes to an emotional close with one final call. Sometimes an ending isn't about leaving, it's about carrying a journey you can be proud of.
Do you have stuff in your coat right now? No? Okay. Employees said they saw you stuff from your basket into your jacket. So if we search your jacket, we're not going to find any items.
After responding to a theft report, the officer encounters a homeless woman trying to stay warm in the freezing cold.
You take everything out right now, we won't press charges, but we can give you
I think that's a fair deal. I'll buy these for her.
Thank you,
Instead of handcuffs, he pays out of his own pocket for a hat and gloves, and gently reminds her that stealing isn't the solution. Sometimes one act of kindness can open the door to changing someone's future.
Get stuff on. Looking good, man.
A warm welcome for a future colleague.
All right. You want to catch some bad guys?
The little guy was so excited to get a full tour of the entire training facility.
Dude! Oh,
Look at his smile. A routine patrol on Highway 88 turns tragic when an officer is forced to defend himself against an armed driver.
Can you tell me why you're in the wrong lane? What do you got in there? What do you got there? Oh, fuck! Don't move.
All units, code 9 channel 1.
22, they can help with that one.
Ma'am?
We are on with the dash.
Are you okay? I'm so sorry. So sorry.
After the tense encounter, Officer Adams can't hold back his emotions, fearing his actions might have affected an innocent person nearby. Even in that moment, the safety of others is still what matters most to him. While on night patrol, Gwinnett County officers come across a mother walking alone, trying to get home in time for her daughter's first birthday.
I said, today's my daughter's birthday. She turned 1.
Oh, really?
And I want to give her, a cake.
Go get her a birthday cake with a #1 candle.
Let's see if they got any in there.
Okay. Thank you, Officer Wilson. No problem. First cake.
They don't just help her get there, they bring a warm surprise, turning the moment into something unforgettable.
Hi, how are you? Can I give you a hug? Oh. There we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Sarah. Happy birthday to you. Yay! Got blow real hard.
In a high-pressure situation, the officer quickly takes control and restrains those involved.
Get on the ground. Roll over. Roll over. Roll over. Roll over. Roll over. Roll over and give me your hand.
Even though he stays composed, his heavy breathing when backup arrives reveals the tension he just went through.
I've got a guy with a gun. Give me some help. Shots fired. Hold it together, man. Come here. Hold it together, man. Hold it. Give me your gun, sir. Give me your gun. I'm with the ambulance service. Give me your gun. Give me your gun. Let go. Let go. Don't you no. Calm down.
That moment shows things don't truly end when the situation is under control. The psychological weight still lingers.
We got it, man. We got it.
A grocery theft investigation leads an officer to Sharika.
Did you just come from Dollar General?
Yeah.
They said you shoplifted some stuff.
No.
You know anything about that?
No. I just walked up on the stand right here.
I saw you carrying the bag, so that's beside the point, okay? If you shoplifted, we can work something out. I'll probably just write you a citation. But don't bullshit me, because I can go in there and watch video.
Okay.
You don't got anything on you I need to worry about, do you?
No,
All right. Come on in here. Where do you live at?
Right down the street.
Are you wanting to prostitute?
After hearing her tearful confession about her hungry children, he's deeply
It
moved.
takes a lot of pride to suck it up.
I'm not telling families I can't fill out applications. I know.
Let me buy this really quick. I'll finish the rest of the ticket outside, and then
He chooses to turn what could have been a legal issue into something better, paying for the items himself and bringing them to her home.
I think everything in here. Yeah. You want to ride home?
That gesture opens up hope, showing police can be a support in difficult times.
Go apply for a job, okay?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yes, ma'am.
In the cold of winter, the image of an officer quietly helping a driver clear snow off the windshield feels incredibly warm. A small act, but enough to melt away the freezing cold. Stopped for a paperwork issue, the female driver chose to run and got a free taste of Arkansas police infamous pit maneuver.
Run around the median or back, northbound 67.
Run around the median, back north 67.
Second pit.
Walk over here, face away from me!
Instead of showing any remorse, she screamed and tried to use her kids as a shield to resist.
My kids need to be picked up!
What's your stomach?
The ending was instant. Restraint on the spot, car gone, freedom gone, and gaining a black mark on her record. It started when Tulsa police stopped a woman using an invalid license while driving a car reported stolen.
Please, what is going on?
It was reported as stolen.
I didn't know.
While officers were checking the vehicle, Angie boldly stole a patrol car and took off at 145 kilometers per hour right in front of them.
Watch this move.
What is she doing? Trying to steal your car. David 136, suspect just stole my vehicle.
Jumps out of the moving car and makes a run for it.
Where'd she go? Is that her right there?
Driving skills while handcuffed? Maybe a 10. But choosing a car to steal? 0. Because no police car takes you farther than prison.
Here's your bag. It's your bag. It's your bag. Your bag is here. Ma'am, listen. Here's
Put me in the back of your car.
what
Put
would
me
you
in
like
the
me?
jail.
What would you like me to
I
call
would
you?
love for you to.
Call you.
Stupid bitch.
Okay.
Put me
So listen.
in the back of
You
your
need
car.
to leave. Can you get in a taxi and go so you don't get in trouble?
No. Because I don't agree with anything you do.
Okay. What do they do?
I'm not 17.
Instead of calling a safe taxi home after a wild night at the casino, the drunk queen chose to push the officer's patience to the limit.
Punch him in the face. So he needs to get out of my face. So get out.
We don't want that to happen. Step back. Let's. All right. Stop. Can you stop? Stop. Are you ready to
I
go
didn't
home?
do anything.
Are you ready to go home
Get
before
out.
you get arrested?
Get off me, stupid fucking.
Her extreme defiance and aggressive behavior were quickly shut down with firm police action, ending her reckless show in a humiliating knockout.
Here, I got the rest. You good?
Alcohol may give you the illusion of power, but the cold snap of handcuffs is what really reminds you who's in control. That cyclist proved one thing. Messing with a federal court is a shortcut to jail. Standing up for what you believe in doesn't mean breaking the law. From life-saving rescues to quiet, heartbreaking moments, these officers show that empathy is the most powerful tool they carry. If these stories moved you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the conversation in the comments below.